Everything grand is made from a series of ugly little moments. Everything worthwhile by hours of self-doubt and days of drudgery. All the works by people you and I admire sit atop a foundation of failures. So whatever your project, whatever your struggle, whatever your dream, keep toiling. The world needs your skyscraper. What's up, guys? How you doing? Hope you're feeling well today. So, just like I mentioned in a previous video, I have a long history of shooting myself in the foot and speaking before I should. And when I said my computer was fixed, as soon as the Windows update came, it knocked it out again. So instead of trying to make hardware work that's 12 or 14 years old, I decided to just go out and buy all new hardware. So hopefully this will last me for at least 5-6 years before it gets outdated and I have to upgrade again. But between the graphics card I bought last November and then everything I bought recently, I think I should be good for a little bit. Unfortunately, I have to restart playing Lords of the Fallen again, and I'm not really too upset about it because while I was waiting for all this to get fixed, I ended up playing the Elden Ring DLC instead, and I wanted to show my review of that because I don't know if you noticed or not, I am a huge Souls fan. So right off rip, this game is absolutely gorgeous. I'm a huge nerd for lighting effects and graphic design and everything that this series, even since Dark Souls, has been offering. The developers from Software have a good history of really making you feel immersed in every single environment they put you in. You really feel like you're going through the world and experiencing it as the character with just awe and wonder and fear and curiosity. It's beautiful. I cannot stress enough how big of a fan I am of these guys and all of their work. And it was fun getting through it. I went through with my Pyromancer, which was easy for some bosses, and other bosses were a pain in the dick. The first one you come across is a fire golem, which, fire versus fire, not very effective. And I chipped away at these guys for a while, took down like 3 or 4 of them the hard way before I realized that there's actually a much easier way to do it. But that's how these games work, is they make you suffer and then you find easier ways to cheese it. Turns out all you gotta do is just run up to them between their attacks at a high ground and just throw giant pots at their heads. Like 2 or 3 of them, and it should just knock them out easy. It's hilarious. I mean, it makes you feel dumb, but it's also really funny that, you learn things the hard way. It's just like, man, all that effort for what? A lot of the bosses too, I was able to find cheeses for. I was getting really good at going through all my rune arcs and suffering, but then I was like, well, instead of suffering and learning boss patterns, if I can cheese it, I want to get through the game. This one was especially funny, in my opinion, because you can just sit here and let the summon just snipe away at this dragon. It was a long process, but I think I was eating chicken wings at the time, so, hilarious. So I'll talk more about the bosses you encounter in the DLC here in a little bit, but I kind of wanted to knock out a bit of the story that we are going through just to give you a brief summary of what's going on. So to grossly over-summarize, we are pursuing Miquella, who is the child of Radagon and Marika. Now Radagon and Marika are of the same being. Miquella's goal in this is to follow the path of his mother, Marika, who was a shaman from this DLC area who stripped herself of her soul and her flesh to become a goddess. Miquella is trying to do the same thing. You'll counted the crosses all throughout the land that say, I am divulging myself of my eyes, of my wants. Here lies my flesh. Here lies my desires and inhibitions and all the other stuff that he has to get rid of in order to achieve his goal of becoming a god and running the world how he wants to. Now, all of Marika's children, which there are a few, because Radagon is also Marika, and he had his own children with Renala. The whole story is just a bunch of demigods running around and causing chaos over a land that is divided, while also dealing with the old gods and everything else that is just going against them. But when Marika left this world to go to the lands between, she left her first son, Mesmir. This is one of the first major bosses you encounter, and he is an absolute pain in the ass. Not only was he hard to fight as a pyromancer, his moveset was intense, and I had to summon an NPC in order to get a questline done, and it took faceplant after faceplant after faceplant. But I would say one of the cooler bosses in the DLC, just based off aesthetics. The flames were so cool. His jump attacks, his teleporting, his fire was absolutely mesmerizing. Get it? Mesmerizing. So Marika left him here to pretty much fight against everybody that was oppressing her, and just left him with the only instructions of raise hell, which he has been doing a lot of and pissing off the locals. She abandoned her son here, and he did the best he could with the circumstances he was given. Unfortunately, he went a little bit crazy and bloodthirsty and just pissed off a lot of the wrong people. But after I got done with this fight and threw all the fireballs I could and got him down, I moved on later in the DLC to the next major pain in the ass boss. So up next we have Renala, who is the sister of Rena from the main game. Rena is of course Rani, Rykard, and Radahn's mom. This character was a bitch and a half to beat. I lost the recording of me fighting it on my Pyromancer, and I'm going through the DLC on my Sorcerer build now, but when I got to this fight, it was way too sloppy to show, so I found this online just to kind of show you how beautiful the fight was, and jaw-droppingly so. It was many attempts, finally got her down, and I had to push forward to the next boss. So up next we have Baal. This is the dragon of all dragons. Apparently he was in a big battle with Lord Placidusax, the original Elden Lord, before all the drama with the Erd Tree and Marika, her first Elden Lord, Godfrey, and all the other people that came after. This was ancient history. He is a badass and a half. You assist an NPC named Egon, who you find first in the opening area, and then later he finds you after you fight two dragons. What this first Elden Lord combatant does not know is that you are also an Elden Lord, and he is messing with a real one. No, this one. So, with the help of Egon, you end up fighting him in this awesome arena. This guy took a lot of effort to bring down, and I am ashamed to say that I was not able to get this done by myself. I keep on seeing parry videos and perfect dodge and no HUD, all the other stuff that the sweaty tryhards get to do. That's not me. I don't have it in me to do that with this game, I was just trying my best to get through it. And the fight itself was absolutely astonishing. I was able to overcome all of his crazy movesets, fight fire with fire, or in this case, use my sorcerer to magic him down the best I could. And even if you try to keep a distance, he has a ridiculous range with all of his movesets. But absolutely gorgeous fight, and I am happy that I got through it. Definitely a challenge, and I loved it. So finally we land ourselves fighting Radahn. Now, Radahn was in the main game, and we ended up defeating him. He was driven mad by the Scarlet Rot, which was inflicted upon him by Melania, and Melania was in search of her brother Miquella. But we don't know until the DLC that Miquella's power is love. He is a highly influential character that compels others to do whatever he wants them to. So, as far as we know, Melania was enchanted, and he also enchanted Mohg to kidnap him, which everyone thought was Mohg's doing on purpose, but it turns out it was all part of the plan. And then after we had defeated Mohg, the body gets abducted, and the spirit of Radahn is put into it. Miquella's plan was to make Radahn his consort after he became a god. Now, after Miquella had stripped away his flesh and divided himself into two, much like Marika did, becoming Radagon and Marika, Miquella became Saint Trina and Miquella. We see Miquella make an appearance during the second half of this fight to assist Radahn and try to also compel you to think that his way is going to be the best way to rule the world. But essentially, he just wants to enchant everybody and take away everyone's free will, which, I'm not saying it's a worse ending than a couple of the other options, but definitely not the way I would prefer to go. And you'll notice in this video, I had to change up my entire build just to get this boss down. Between summoning NPCs, summoning people, face planting on him upwards of close to 50 times, I decided that the build I had was not ideal for this monster truck that is standing in front of me. So instead, I decided to make a shield build and just poke him down the best I can, because there is absolutely no dodging this crazy series of attacks he throws at you. It is very challenging, and there are people who spend almost a whole week trying to get him down. I do not have that kind of time, dedication, or patience between working and just being bad at the game. Definitely not a good combo. But I would like to say this is a magnificent final boss for the series. The way they closed out Dark Souls 3 with Gale at the end, this is equally astonishing and a fitting end to a very cryptic storyline that takes a whole community to come together and solve what's going on behind it. I wouldn't have half the knowledge that I do without watching videos created by VadiVigia or other people who are really dedicated to breaking down this game and making sure everyone is on the same page, at least with things that are obvious, and leaving things that are cryptic for us to interpret, with at least leading us in the right direction. So big shout out to all of them. Also shout out to all of the YouTubers that I watch who do PvP, such as Chase the Bro or Gino Machino, who is a perfectionist when it comes to making perfect dodge, no hit runs, or any kind of crazy ability to get through the game. As I'm taking down this boss, I'm just blown away by the scenery and the lighting effects. And you can tell that the developers put a lot of work into the boss to really push you to your wit's end to make sure that you don't leave disappointed. Even with help, one of the most challenging bosses I've ever come across. And when I finally got him down, it was a huge feeling of relief. Big shout out to From Software and all of their hard work that they put in to make this game as magnificent as it is. Even though the ending was not as cinematically appealing as the opening trailer. The same thing with the main game as well. Very short cinematics for all the 6 possible endings you can get. It is still a wonderful feeling to get through this and experience this in real time with the community as it's being released, and just be a part of all of this with all of you who are also fans of the series. Everybody that has given me feedback and shared videos with me and talked to me about it and helped me through it, and all my friends who are big into this game as well, you guys are awesome. And hopefully FromSoft keeps on making banger after banger so we can enjoy the series that they put out together. But now that I finally have this done, I'll be able to work on Lords of the Fallen with the solid computer and not have to start over again if I'm not shooting myself in the foot all over again. But this video's been going on long enough. I need to wrap it up. I want to say thank you to everybody who has stuck around this long and watched this video and kept up with me as I've been trying to just keep on improving myself. Keep on putting out videos of me being terrible at video games and being part of this, whatever this channel is. So, big shout out to all of you. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.